All right. I'll call this meeting of Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors to order. Roll call, please. Mr. Veeder.
Leyland?
Here.
Little?
Here.
Jelka?
Here.
White?
Here.
Schwartz?
Here. Please join us in a moment of silence to reflect on today's actions. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A motion on the agenda as proposed or amended.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the agenda is approved. Next is public comments. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak to the board on something that is not an agenda item? All right, I believe hearing none, we will move on to the Years of Service Award. This is to recognize employees with 20 or more years of service.
Mr. Chair, we have two awards to give today. One to Angela McKinney of Consolidated Communications for 20 years of service. Well, we need to check that. It says on my paperwork 20 years. It says on the service award 25 years, so we should check that to make sure. And then another with 25 years, Lisa Collum of the County Attorney's Office. Did you want to take that to her, Brian? Give it to her with our congratulations. Thank you.
Is that all of them for today, Mr. Veeder?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you. And congratulations to those employees, and thank you so very much for your dedicated service to the county and our community as a whole. Next, we'll move on to claims and payments.
Good morning. James Perry, Finance Director. This week's expenditures are $316,842.72. Larger line items, conservation $40,588. We had a workers' comp insurance premium for $23,972. And then $116,082 out of our capital fund for Brandon Bridge repair, as well as Hickory Park Electrical. Everything else looks normal.
James, what was the conservation 40,000 something for?
Let me check. 40,000. 40,588. I didn't highlight it on my sheet, but let me check here quick. Looks like just various.
So it wasn't
Smaller
just, it wasn't
items.
one particular item then.
No. No, looks like they had, no, Menard strips, roofing, antifreeze, let's see here. Looks like there is, the largest item on there is $16,871.40, and that is for Cedar Valley Nature Trail repairs, for Asperl.
Okay.
Everything else is significantly lower than that, so,
Thank you.
yeah, you bet.
Motion to
All right.
approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please, Mr. Veeder.
Leyland?
Yes.
Little?
Yes.
Jelka?
Yes.
White? Yes. Schwartz?
Yes, the resolution is approved. Next, we will receive project updates from department heads and elected officials.
Good morning, Board. Kathy Nicholas,
Good morning.
County Engineer. Just a very brief update. Crews are cutting brush and working on bridge beams for next year's bridge crew projects. I just wanted to show you one picture of the work that PCI is doing out on the Cedar River Bridge. You can, of course, see the new structure to the south. It's a higher structure, so that is the structure on the right-hand picture, the right-hand side of the picture. If you haven't been out there yet, that's the new structure. And then the old structure is being removed, and this was taken a day or two before Thanksgiving. You can see that PCI at that time had removed much of the deck. And this week they are starting to remove the green steel beams here. And they're just dropping those onto the causeway, the road underneath the old bridge right there. If you'd like, you can go out and see that. We do have an inspector out there much of the time. Give us a call and we'll show you around. Can I answer any questions at this time on that? Okay, I wanted to bring up, did we want to find a time to discuss the Wheeler Road Bridge again, or have we had time to consider that situation, or?
I guess from my perspective, I'm still waiting for answers to the question I posed last week about a hold harmless agreement and them carrying their own insurance. And I'd like to see a risk management assessment that takes into account that the vehicles they'd be using would be under the weight limit. The one we got used a false premises that they would be over the weight limit.
If I may speak to that, that was not my understanding, and I could take a look at this again, but my understanding is that we are not, by ensuring the neighboring, by having the neighboring citizens be insured, that's not going to be enough to get a recommendation that we go ahead with this by our risk manager, and I agree with that as well. I'm concerned that we're going to be setting a precedent that we're going to be revisiting perhaps a lot of the time if we allow this time, and it's hard to see where this doesn't enhance the liability of the county, even if there is some alternate insurance money there that's met by the neighboring residents. So I continue to recommend against this. The risk manager recommends against this. I'm happy to go back and talk to him again and try and get specifically, address this issue of whether those vehicles exceed the weight limit. But my understanding was that the assumption always was that they would not exceed the weight limit.
I guess that was my assumption too, Chris. Is there something particular that you think we're not addressing by like I say, not only the liability, but the safety of people on that bridge?
In the thread that I read yesterday, it sounded that those questions were not yet answered because they were posed again to Mr. Faraday, as well as it seemed that he was saying that if we were concerned about our own vehicles going over, then why would we not be concerned about others? But it didn't seem to take into account, at least my reading of it, that the weight would be under the limit, and that was what was causing us to close it because we didn't want to go over with our heavy vehicles. But
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
I caution, this is an agenda item. We shouldn't be having this much of a discussion. The public hasn't the opportunity to be here, and that's the reason why you put it on the agenda. So we're under elected officials' reports, but seeing that this was a previous agenda item, I don't think we should be having a whole lot of discussion on it today unless you want to put it back on the agenda next week.
Well, and I was just going to say, I think that's a good idea, Tom, because if we can go ahead and put this on the agenda next week, I'll get a definitive answer addressing Mr. Schwartz's specific concern that the assumption may have been that the resident snow removal vehicles would have also exceeded the weight limit. And so I'll make sure, this answer came rather late yesterday afternoon, so I'll circle back with the risk manager to check on that specific question, and we can address it as an agenda item next week.
Yeah, I'm not saying it needs to be put on the future agenda. I'm just saying I don't think discussion on it today is proper. We're under public official or elected officials, department heads. So I think we ought to cease discussion on this. And if we deem needed, we can put it on a future agenda.
I'd like to see it on a future agenda. I wish there was somehow, some way we could accommodate the local residents. I don't know if that's possible, but I sure would like to.
Well, we can put it on the agenda and probably, yeah, have more discussion on it.
So
at that
hopefully we can
address.
put this,
I'm sorry, what
so
time?
hopefully we can have the,
Oh, Chris.
I was just saying, hopefully we can have this on the agenda for next week and have those final questions answered.
Yeah, I know the residents are wanting the answers as soon as possible, so that'd be great.
Thank you. That gives me some direction because we're, as I said before, when we get a significant snowfall, as of now, we're planning on putting barricades on both ends of the bridge. So we'll continue to wait for a decision then.
Will you be corresponding with them, Kathy, to let them know we'll have it on the agenda, or we can? I mean, it's certainly.
I certainly can. Would you invite them to come back, or that's not the intent of next week's discussion, or?
I wasn't thinking it was the intent of the discussion, just letting them know. We told them about a week we'd be getting back with them, and so it was just kind of following up that we'd make the decision or have more discussion on it next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other department heads or elected officials wish to give a report today?
Good morning, board. This is Nafisa. I'm giving the update of the health department update here because it's regarding operations. Our deputy director, Eileen Daly, will be retiring at the end of December. Eileen has just been an incredible human being to work with, and she's helped with so many transitions over the past 4 years. And so we are recruiting for a deputy director position. I wanted the board to be aware. So this is a key position for our operations, and I'm hopeful for potential candidates. But I wanted you all to be aware that Ms. Eileen Daly will be retiring at the end of the month. Thank you.
Thank you, and send our gratitude and well wishes to Eileen. All right, any other department heads or elected officials have an update for today? Move on to the minutes approved from the November 24th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, the minutes are approved. Next, we will move on to the consent agenda. This will be approved with a single resolution.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there anything anybody has questions on or wishes to discuss in the consent agenda? Hearing none, roll call please, Mr. Veeder.
Little,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes. Resolution is approved. Next, do we have Ben Delagardelle with us today? All right,
He
I
doesn't
don't
show up
think
on the
so,
screen.
so we will move on to item 9, contracts and agreements. This is a resolution that the service agreement between Blackhawk County and Clapsdale Garber Associates Incorporated of Cedar Falls, Iowa, for monument preservation and on-call surveying services for the remainder of calendar year 2021 at various locations in Blackhawk County with a bid of $2,600 for monument preservations and a set rate of fees for on-call surveying services. Be approved as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer.
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Yeah, I think I've given you some information by email about this, that this is on a calendar year contract with with Clapsaddle Garber. We do budget in both fiscal years about $25,000 each to pay for these services. And many of these services are when we resurface a roadway, we oftentimes disturb monuments. And the Code of Iowa requires us to reestablish those monuments. They must be reestablished by a licensed land surveyor. we no longer have a land surveyor on staff, hence our need for a private consultant, private land surveyor to do that work. And this does allow some very minimal miscellaneous surveying that we may need throughout the year as well.
Thank you.
All right. It has been moved and seconded. Do we have any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call please, Mr. Veeder.
Trelka,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. Next, under other business, this is a motion that the personnel requisition for account specialist, full-time in the county engineer's office be approved as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, county engineer.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Kathy?
Yeah, so I've told you that Sandy Walker will be retiring at the end of December. Her position is very essential to the office. That position pays all of our bills and does all of our payroll. So I definitely want to replace her, and it would not be effective, obviously, until after January 1st of 2021. And this would follow the bargaining contract.
All right, it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Next, item B, this is a resolution that the lowest responsible bid received from Peterson Contractors Incorporated of Rhinebeck, Iowa. The letting was held on November 24th, 2020, for project LFM-5008-7X-07 for the grading of Grundy Road with a total bid of $3,417,481.18. Be approved as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, county engineer.
So moved.
Second.
Kathy?
Yes, as you know, last week we did open bids. We received excellent bids, 5 bids and 1 incomplete bid. They're all in order. I would recommend that you do award it to Peterson Contractors, of Rhinebeck, Iowa. I should also say that you are acting on behalf of the Grundy County Board of Supervisors. Their engineer has said that as long as it was underbid, that they would, under the engineer's estimate, that they would participate in the project without, further communications or considerations. So he has recommended that we go ahead, that you all go ahead and also award this as well to Peterson.
All right, it has been moved and seconded. Board, do we have any further discussion or questions?
I have one question for Mike. Mike, do we need to get anything from Grundy County Board in writing rather than just verbal?
In my opinion, I think that they should pass a resolution as well approving this if they're paying any portion of it.
Have they done that yet?
I believe that they were waiting until, I thought that they were waiting until next week.
Probably after we did, making sure we accepted.
Yeah, after
it, so.
you.
Yeah, my understanding was they were waiting until we decided first. And so if we want to make this contingent upon them passing it as well, I don't see any problem with that. I think that's a good idea.
I don't have a problem with passing it. I just don't want to go by what they verbally say. You got to put things in writing, so.
Yeah, good idea.
All right, so it's the understanding that this resolution is contingent upon passage by the Grundy County Board of Supervisors. Is everybody clear on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, very good. It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call please, Mr. Veeder.
White,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. Next, item C, this is discussion, county preparedness, and updates regarding COVID.
Okay, well, I hope everybody relatively enjoyed their Thanksgiving in a COVID safe environment. We've been seeing our numbers have been a little bit down this past couple of days, but I'm also we are also staying alert until next week. In the right now we're actually working on vaccine planning and distribution. We'll receive additional update from the Iowa Department of Public Health this at noon. So kind of excited. I mean, this is exciting stuff that's coming, but at the same time, we want to make sure that everybody continues to practice, the COVID safety measures as well. We are going to also survey that's going to go community wide, and this survey is going to help us to inform a little bit of our messaging as it relates to COVID vaccination. So we're hearing that there's some hesitancy in terms of getting the vaccine, so we want to make sure that we get community input so that we also are prepared in terms of providing the information needed to at least answer some of the questions and concerns that people might have. As I have communicated before with the vaccine distribution and allocation, the primary the phase 1 will take place, and we will have priority groups. I've heard today that that information might be released as to who are going to be the priority groups for the COVID vaccine. It's most likely going to be with healthcare. I had a meeting with the healthcare systems yesterday, and so they will also help us in terms of some of the information needed to help people, to support people to get the vaccine, because there's, again, a lot of hesitation. They're managing as of right now, but it's still the ICUs that are pretty full in both systems. So that's where we're at. Again, just looking forward to some positive news, but a lot of planning, and this will be a few months before the general population has access to the vaccine. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. But that's where we're at in terms of COVID. Oh, and Supervisors, we are going to start having weekly vaccine planning meetings through the EOC. So that has been communicated to Lori Glover, I believe. And then we're still having the weekly meetings with our elected officials. Those are going to be important in terms of just what we're also getting from the data. And so we would love to share and get you all's feedback in terms of next steps and vaccine education and promotion. I'm also have bi-weekly meetings scheduled with the NAACP. We know that communities of color are also, rightfully so, there's some distrust there in terms of the vaccine. And so I'm going to work with key community leaders to help with some of the education and just the data that's out there, to hear their concerns so that we can do the promotion effectively. That's all I have. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Board, do you have any questions or anything else you want to raise? Thank you. We'll move on to any reports or information from the board. I just want to share that the Conservation Department has, for the first time ever, their holiday lights display in Hickory Hills Park, and that will be open this weekend. I'm very excited to go see it myself. It's a really kind of fun event to replace some of the things they weren't able to do this year, and it's I think a pretty affordable rate of $10 a car, and goes to support their excellent work. Any other reports or information?
Just to send out our condolences to the Mudd family. Mrs. Mudd passed away.
If there's no other reports, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? This meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.